Japanese horrors are considered the most terrible. In films, ghosts always interact with mortals, and vivid emotional characters make the picture grotesque. Japanese thrillers have an abundance of emotions, horrors, tragedies. Therefore, when we watch a movie, we often turn away. Everything that happens in it scares too much. Every culture has its own scary stories. Japan is no exception in this. There are terrible legends in this country, which are feared by all residents of Japan. Today we will look at the 10 scariest legends of Japan. Try not to die of fear. Hit Bashir. Hita Bashir, or the living pillar, is an ancient ritual of sacrificing a person who was immured alive in a column for construction. It was believed that this rite would help protect the building from earthquakes, military operations, and so on. Ancient people thought that by immuring a living person in the support of a building, his spirit would help ward off his strength from building, and the publication would stand for many centuries. It is said that the building, in the columns of which people are sealed, is often visited by their ghosts. Kushi Sakiana. Kushisaki Ono is a character in many anime and movies. Kushisaki, it translates as a woman with a torn mouth. The legend of this woman is known to all Japanese. It tells about a beautiful lady who was mutilated and then killed by her husband out of jealousy. Kushi Sakiana returned to the mortal world to take revenge. In the 1970s and 80s, the legend became the most famous, and teachers of Japanese schools recommended parents to accompany and meet their children from school. If a person walks alone at night, he can appear so easily and it will be impossible to escape from her. She wears a surgical mask and asks a question. Am I pretty? If she gets the answer no, she cuts off the man's head with large scissors. If she gets the answer yes, then she takes off her mask and the person sees her mouth cut to the ears. After that, the woman also cuts the stranger's mouth. Techie techie techie, techie techie is the sound that a moving creature makes, and it moves with the help of elbows. The legend tells that a cute girl got hit by a train and was cut in half. The versions are different. One says that the girl herself threw herself under the wheels, the other says that she accidentally fell while in the subway. The train wheels cut the girl in half, but her upper body decided to take revenge because her anger is too great. Despite the fact that she has no lower body, she moves quickly, and if someone happens to meet her, she will cut these people in half with a scythe. Tamina's Hell. Japanese urban legend says that anyone who dares to read the poem completely will die or get into a disaster. Everyone knows that words have powerful power and there are those that are undesirable to pronounce. From Toman has a set of words that no one should read. Even if someone does not die after reading a poem, sooner or later they will experience something bad. The poem was written to him by Tainakita in the book The Heart is Like a Rolling Stone. It contains lines from Amin, who died and went to hell. And the team. After you learn this legend, it's scary to visit public Japanese restrooms, and the command means a red raincoat and personifying an evil spirit inhabiting a public women's toilet. He may ask, what color of raincoat do you prefer? Blue or red? If a woman chooses red, she will be chopped into several pieces. If it's blue, they'll strangle you. This spirit appears in the toilet when the toilet paper has run out. Probably, in order to avoid encounters with this spirit, you should always have a paper with you. The Legend of the Cow's Head is a Japanese horror story, which is not in the books, but it is still passed from mouth to mouth. It is not recommended for anyone to know a scary story, because you can die of fright. Once, during a bus ride with schoolchildren, the teacher decided to entertain the students and began telling them scary stories. When he started telling the cow's head story, the children started screaming and begging him to stop. But it seemed that the teacher was in a trance and did not hear him. When he woke up, all the students were unconscious and foaming at the mouth. Some of them died a few days later. The doll named Okiku seems to be the most ordinary, but only at first glance. According to legend, a 17-year-old boy bought a doll as a gift to his 2-year-old sister at a maritime exhibition. The girl was delighted with her and always played with her. It was in 1918. A year later, the girl died. They left the doll with their parents and named it after their daughter, and Kiku. The girl's soul took possession of the doll, and her hair gradually became longer, although it was short when she bought it. Now the doll is in the temple of the arena. The village of Inanaki. Ancient Inanaki is a mysterious and completely isolated settlement from the whole world. There are a large number of abandoned houses in it, and in some of them only the elderly live. At the entrance to the village, you can see a sign that the laws of Japan are invalid here. And, according to eyewitnesses, life in this village is terrible. For example, things like cannibalism and murder are quite normal. Electronic devices and telephones do not work in the village. There are pay phones and antique shops here, but you won't be able to call from such a phone. The people who went to the village and the nunaks did not come back. The girl from the gap. Have you ever paid your attention to the gap between the wardrobe and the wall, the bed and the floor? It's better not to look there, because one day you might notice something. Take a closer look and see a pair of eyes that will look right at you. At the first meeting with a girl, she will ask, "Do you want to play hide and seek with me?" Even if you are not in the mood for it, you will not be able to refuse. The game will consist in the fact that you will not be able to look between the cracks. And when you meet a girl for the second time, you will find yourself in another dimension or in hell. The Tunnels of Ithaca. Kitaki Tunnel is the most famous haunted place in Japan, built in 1927 year. The tunnel is 444 meters long. 4 means a cursed place. During the construction of the tunnel, workers from Arab and difficult working conditions died. And the ghosts of these people live in the tunnel, as well as those who died in it. You can meet ghosts at night, driving through the tunnel by car. They can even scare you by being in the back seat. There is a mirror in the tunnel. If you see a ghost in it, then after looking at it, a terrible death awaits a person. Interestingly, the length of the tunnel varies depending on what time of day it is measured.